okay, so the reason this became a thing is he contacted Twitch support
Yeah.
and asked them if he could get a refund from Alinity for $15,000 because he wasn't aware that she had a husband. Hello and welcome to the Two Step Podcast. I'm Bag, and joining me is Mag.
Hello.
So brothers, let's talk some trash. So, we got a couple of things. Let me switch over here. Got a couple of topics here today. Honestly, not a lot of big stuff has happened. So, the only two really main topics that we've got is Fallout is putting money first, as you guys might have heard. Unfortunately, this came out literally like 4 hours after we...
happens.
It was like 4 hours after we did the podcast.
I mean, let's be honest, I think this is just the fact that we only do one podcast a week. This is going to happen every time.
Yeah, it's
maybe we should have just done
them.
them.
That happens.
Maybe we should start doing the podcast on Thursday, since that's when all the news seems to come out.
Well, I mean, we're gonna start doing them on another day soon. Leaks. But anyways, next is
Leaks!
Death Stranding. A couple cool things to talk about Death Stranding for PC gamers, and then we've got the return of the segment Game Companies Doing Game Company Things. Today's probably going to be a lot of just us bullshitting, so get ready.
Yeah, there's not a hell of a lot of stuff that's actually gone down in gaming news this week. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of small informations.
Yeah, there's just...
and random ass bullshit.
Yeah, most of the stuff that's happened is stuff we've kind of already talked about, like BlizzCon is sort of, more leaks are happening and stuff. We'll talk about that kind of stuff, but just not at length.
Good idea.
So yeah, the game of choice today for you boys, no more Minecraft. We're playing Slay the Spire.
Yeah, I'm playing Slay the Spire on mine as well. Which I have to restart everything. I lost my save. Good.
Yeah, same. Because I'm playing a new installation. But yeah, so the first topic here is Fallout is putting money first. So this is something that is really bad news for Bethesda, in my opinion, because
terrible timing for them. Like, great timing for Obsidian though.
Oh sure, of course, but like Fallout was already dying, right? Like they've gotten so... I don't think that game's gotten any good press. Would you say there's been any good press about Fallout 76, Mag? Like, have you heard a single thing?
For me personally, no, not really. I haven't heard a single thing about... Like, for the record, I was kind of interested in it as somebody who likes those kind of things, but yeah.
They have this subscription thing that you can do that gets you a bunch of little extras. $12.99 a month or $99 a year. But the problem is that this comes out at a terrible time for them, because not only is it just horrible price gouging, just trying to just suck as much money out of their consumers as possible. Not only is it that, but the features
it's worse. It's worse value. Yeah, no, they don't work, but it's worse value than any other game, like any other survival style game on the market. Like, I don't understand why you would buy Fallout 76 when you could buy... I mean, you could really just you could just play any other survival game. And I'm talking things like 7 Days to Die is better than this shit. Fucking things like Conan Exiles is better than this shit. I mean, I'm not going to say Ark is better than this shit. I mean, that's about on par, really. But still, it's got more content, so there's that going for it. If you don't mind the fucking terrible fucking performance and the fucking random crashes, it's still probably better. It's probably more fun. Minecraft's better than this shit. You could load up Minecraft on Twitch, on the Twitch fucking app, right? And get mods and be better than this shit.
Yeah,
there's no incentive to play it. Even if you enjoy that kind of style.
Coming from. It doesn't make any sense to me that they're actually trying to do this.
So, the problem with Fallout 76 as a general rule, right, if you haven't kept up, is mainly that it's just basically Fallout 4's build mechanics with a bunch of random enemies that serve no purpose other than to allow you to kill them. And the biggest problems that Fallout First has come up against is that, for instance, it offers private servers. So they said on Fallout 76 release that they wouldn't be releasing it with private servers. So you couldn't have dedicated servers and you couldn't have mod support, right? These are pretty much the two things that killed it almost immediately for me. As somebody who likes survival games and doesn't mind a bit of jank, in my survival games, the fact that I can't play on private servers and modify it the way I fucking want to, instant turn off. Because I can do that with any other survival game that I play, right? Like all the games that I just listed, 7 Days to Die, Code and Exiles, Ark, fucking stuff, they have mods, right? Fallout 76, you'd think would have mods, since it's basically just the Fallout engine. Same shit, right? No, it doesn't. But to make matters worse, when they did release the private servers, right? They're not even fucking private, and they seem to be a rehash of servers that have already been basically looted and pillaged before. It's good.
Yeah, it's like, I don't...
Right.
They're basically just recycling servers to save them the cost of what? Nothing? I mean, like, they don't even get anything for doing that.
Yeah, that's the thing too, right? We would be paying the point of... Well, they do get stuff from it. They don't, instead of the money that you're paying on Fallout First going towards a server that you would be, that you would have, it just goes towards lining their pockets. Because that's the thing, right? I can pay money. I pay $15, or rather, Star pays $15 a month for us to have a Minecraft server, right? Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's the average price you would expect to pay for an average server for anything. Minimum is usually $15 US a month, right? Well, thing is, Fallout First doesn't really cost that much. Doesn't really cost much less than that, right? But you don't get, and it's supposed to give you a private server, but it doesn't. What's the point? Like, the whole point of the cost is so that they can afford to give you the dedicated server that you're paying for. But they're trying to save on the cost by not doing that, by just giving you a rehash server that offers you nothing because it's all been looted before. It's a waste of time for the players, for the people buying it. It's not a...
It's actually insane that they think that something like this is okay, because, like, I get it that there are, there's plenty of people that are just okay with being fucked in this
I'll be honest, I don't necessarily think that they think it's okay. Rather, I think that they can get away with it. That's the difference, right? That's the thing. It's the same reason why it's the same reason why game companies like Take-Two, for instance, do so many controversies as recently and screw over people by doing things like Epic Exclusive. It's not so much that they care, it's because they don't care. They think that the small amount of drama that they might incur on social media is nothing compared to the amount of profit they make. They're hedging their bets on the idea that the majority of people won't care. Unbeknownst to them, though, with things like Fallout 76, is that Fallout 76 is not particularly popular. It's not particularly successful. It's gone under the radar because it's really, really shallow. The only game that was worse than it in terms of release in the last fucking year was Anthem. Have you heard anything about Anthem? No. Because EA have actually tried to cover that up. Like a fucking like bad laundry.
That's the problem with this, is that, like, I feel that these companies feel that they can just do whatever they want at this point, that they've got so much clout and so much power in the, like, headspace of gamers that they can just get away with anything they want. However, with the advent of social media, they aren't getting away with it anymore, and it feels like it's really starting to come to a head now that competition is so big, they can just go play something else.
Yeah, at the same time, though, I don't actually think it's the companies, and I stress this, right? I was thinking about this yesterday. When we saw a bunch of all the Blizzard fucking, like, leaks, which I guess we'll mention in brief, right? Where one of the Blizzard leaks was, the company, the executives, the upper management, they don't care about you. And I'm thinking, regardless of what you think about any of the other information in that article, right? Mm-hmm. That is the one truth. Upper management of a video game company, of pretty much any massive company, right? Basically, upper management of every multi-million-dollar company, they pretty much don't care about you. They're not trying to make you happy, the customer. They're trying to make the shareholders happy. Because if the shareholders are happy, the shareholders will give them more money, and the upper management executives walk out with a nice fat check. They don't give a shit if the company goes under. So the thing about Fallout 76 is that it's not necessarily in Bethesda's best interest long term to do the things that they're doing, but it is potentially in the interest of whoever's making the decision. That's kind of the problem, right? That's a massive issue. There's often a massive difference between a company doing something and the person running the company doing something.
Yeah, and this has been a problem for quite some time. Actually, something that I'm semi-familiar with, because I had to look into it one time, was this happened with car companies. Many years ago. Is that originally the people who own these companies, be it any company, right? Any passion-driven company where you make a product and that product is a product of your passion for the whatever it is. So what happened with the car companies is that originally it was engineers. It was people who really liked having nice cars that ran fast and ran well with good parts. That was the whole purpose of them making these cars. When they were at the heads of these companies, same thing with actual game designers that play games, when they were the heads of these companies, great products were released, and it catapults these companies into the limelight. Basically, they made good products, they made sure that the products were good, they had very, very, like, strict policies on what to do. But now it's just money
the most
people.
Profitable. Yeah, it's basically, what's the name for it? What's the, it's number crunchers. That's it, right? It's just dime pushers. People who, it's just a bunch of accountants and executives who push up, who just see everything by statistical value.
Yeah, and what ends up happening is that it's just eventually when these people move out of the leadership of the company, you saw this with Blizzard, it's already happened. Yeah. When these people move out of the leadership roles of the company, the people that make it into those roles nowadays are people that can push profits.
I've often talked about this on Reddit, primarily because I think the way subreddits work on Reddit is very similar to way a business works in general. Basically, all kinds of social groups seem to work like this. The average life cycle of a big business, and I'm simplifying this a lot, sure, but the average life cycle, simply put, is you start with 1 or 2 people who have an idea, right? That idea is their passion. They have a massive interest in pushing this idea because they really, really like it. They're really interested in it, and they want to make other people interested in it well. In gaming, this is generally people like, for instance, originally, this would have been people like fucking John Carmack and John Romero, who wanted to make their own gaming studio because they were fucking interested in games and they wanted to make their own stuff. This is also the same way that Activision, for instance, was made. Activision was originally started by 3, I don't know their names off the top of my head, but they were started by around 3 game developers who felt that they were being shafted at the time by Atari. So they decided to split off from that and form their own company, which they did. It was a passion project. They got to make all their own games however they wanted. However, as the project starts scaling up, right, and they want to make bigger and bigger investments, and they start bringing in more and more people, the culture of the company gets a little bit more watered down. It stops being a passion project for every single person involved. A lot of the people that they start hiring only care about the money side because it's just, to them, a job. It's just another thing that they have to do to live so that they can actually go and do whatever they fucking are interested in, right? And eventually, as you scale up a company more and more and more, there becomes more people who are just interested in making money than there are people who are interested in shipping a good product. And that's really what happens. Like, it's just like the natural life of anything that gets big. And eventually, when that happens, the original leadership becomes so disenfranchised by the way the company is running now that they leave and generally start over, or they retire on their fucking millions, right? And we've seen this happen with tons of companies like BioWare.
It's kind of a cycle too.
And Bethesda, like, yeah, it is. It really is cyclic.
It's like it cycles from the company just basically being cashed out. Like these money people come into the company, they cash out the company, they get as much money as they can out of it, and then one of 2 things happens. Either the cycle repeats or the company dies. And a lot of the time, I mean, these bigger companies that you know of, they just kill the company and they don't even care about it. Like, I mean, EA has done this countless amounts of times at this point.
Oh yeah, the fucking the death counter for EA. Like, we could pull up a list of this.
It's huge.
But the EA count, the death count for EA is huge. Look, I still remember when fucking they originally brought out Westwood Studios, the guys who made Command and Conquer, right? And that was kind of it. That was just the death knell. And in fact, I believe that the death of Command and Conquer was one of the biggest fucking... so not Command and Conquer as such. The death of Westwood, I reckon, was one of the first major signs that RTS games were going out of favor. Because at that point, there wasn't anyone who was really who really wanted to make RTS games, other than maybe Blizzard at the time. Mm-hmm. Keeping in mind that RTS games have always been relatively niche. That's why I always find it funny that people say, oh, real-time strategy games are dead. And it's like, well, they were never really in fashion to begin with. They were always really niche. It's just that in the 90s, there were less gamers overall. So, when there's less percentage of people playing games, like, in general, it makes certain niche games look a bit more popular than they really are. It's the same reason why, like, grand strategy games, for instance, are great, but they're not nearly as popular. They have a high skill barrier. right? They're super hard to learn, super hard to fucking play. The only reason I think brand strategies and 4X games are much more popular than real-time strategies is because they're not real-time. That, like, the whole RTS nature, the whole real-time nature of an RTS game makes them inherently difficult to play. But that's a...
Yeah,
that's
and it's something
neither here
that,
nor there.
it's something that has been an issue with RTS games forever. The only one that really broke out was Brood War, to be honest. I think that was actually the only one that, like, made it past the,
I think it doesn't,
the hurdle that it had.
I made this statement before on Reddit a few days ago. I think what doesn't help it is the fact that a lot of people's perceptions of RTS games is that you have to have the highest APM possible, and that is true if you want to be number one. Sure, having a high APM is great, but it's not. But that's like saying you need to have 99% accuracy at a first-person shooter, and if you don't, you might as well not play. I mean, that's like ridiculous. Nobody would think that. You can still be successful and still have fun with an FPS when you're not a crack shot, quick player.
Sure.
Like, and that's the same with an RTS. But people's perceptions are seemingly whacked. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's just really the fact that it's completely hard to get into because it's really high skill.
It's just like any competitive game. I mean, basically what people end up doing is that they look at the very, very top people, and if they aren't as good or doing what they do, then they're not worth playing. And it's actually a pretty big barrier to entry, and it's why I think more casual games as we go forward are the ones that are getting popular. Like casual competitive.
It's interesting to me that Dota, and it's funny that people say this with things like RDS, right? Whereas I think League of Legends, for instance, actually has a relatively decently high skill cap. Primarily but because League of Legends is a relatively easy game to play, but then you have things like the items, and then the lanes and all that other shit, and all the heroes that they have, especially now. Like the skill cap for League of Legends only gets worse as time goes on and they introduce new stuff to the game. Right? Like, it doesn't get easier to learn those kind of games, because it just gets harder as they release new content.
Yeah, it's actually insane.
And it's just interesting despite the fact that it's still really popular. Probably because it's easy to learn, but not and hard to master, I guess.
Yeah, it's as the game goes on, you can kind of see, specifically with League, I have some experience here so I can kind of talk to it. Specifically with League, you can see how much the game has changed if you look at, say, when the game first released and the kinds of champions that they released. This happened in WoW too. The original set of champions were very easy. They had point-and-click abilities where you just target someone and the ability hits them, right? Yeah. Very, very easy to play. Nowadays, almost no newly released champion has an ability where you just click the person, and it hits them. They're all skill shots. No. They're all stuff that you have to aim.
You have to aim them, yeah.
So it's just
which is good. I think that makes for better play, but
I absolutely
I think that makes for a much more interesting game. Not to mention that in the original Dota
moving on from
mod,
Fallout, we kind of just went off on our tangent.
Moving on from Fallout, which we talked about StarCraft. Whee!
Yeah, there wasn't there's honestly not much else going on with that. I mean, Bethesda just shitting the bed again. Who's really surprised at this point?
But again, great for Obsidian Entertainment with the release of Outer Worlds.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
And we'll talk about some of that later once we get to the third segment.
Briefly, since neither of us have finished it.
So this is actually kind of interesting, and both Meg and I were surprised that they allowed Kojima to even say this, because I figured that it would happen, right? Like, I mean, we both expected that there would be a PC release, right? Like,
see, I wasn't. I was like 50-50 on the thing. I thought it could go either way, because Sony... No, but the thing is that Sony, historically, Sony exclusives are Sony exclusives. They're PlayStation, right? Things like... Most of their games don't end up releasing. Look at things like Gears of War. Do you know how successful Gears of War probably would... Not Gears of War, God of War. Do you know how successful God of War would have been successful on fucking PC? Or things like Bloodborne, for instance? That would have been insane, right? But these games were funded primarily by Sony, and they wanted to make them PlayStation exclusive to draw you into their ecosystem. I get that. Makes sense. I'm not... I think it's bullshit. I hate exclusives, but I know why they did it. I wasn't expecting Death Stranding to be PC, primarily because when they first announced it and people were talking about it, also, fucking really? Fucking Cerulean City music? Good. Anyways, fucking... It's so distracting whenever this fucking thing puts a song that you know and recognize really well. But anyways, I didn't think it was sure, because when they released the announcement originally, like what, 2 years ago now? People were mentioning, oh, will this game be on PC? And Sony were very quick to shut down that concept. This isn't like, for instance, For instance, Rockstar games are almost guaranteed to be on PC, because ever since they released it delayed with GTA 4, there's no reason that they wouldn't release GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC. The amount of money that these make on PC is just, why the fuck wouldn't you? It's leaving money on the table. But Sony, but that's the difference with Rockstar, is Rockstar don't make their business by selling people into an ecosystem, into a walled garden. Sony, on the other hand, do. So I wasn't entirely 100% convinced that Sony would actually allow Death Stranding to be put on PC, because I figured that they would be very adamant, as they have been. But with the rise of things like crossplay and cross-save and all that stuff, and Sony sort of easing into it, is a little, it's not too surprising that Death Stranding's on PC. It's more surprising that they didn't announce it themselves and let Kojima announce it on fucking Twitter. That's the real surprise here.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say next. Also, I think I'm gonna just die here. I can either lose all of my gold or die. Well, anyways, but yeah, so they let Kojima talk about it on Twitter, and let's jump over here because it's actually kind of interesting. So showcase. Hold on 1 second while I pull this up. So,
what, the Twitter post?
Yeah, the Twitter post. So from Kojima, this here, you'll see here. Oh, this is the one about Conan O'Brien, but Kojima, where is it? Yeah, here we go.
Oh, that is the one about Kojima. Well, cool, we pulled up the same thing.
Oh, this isn't actually linking straight to it. Well, whatever, but Kojima himself actually was the one that...
Yeah, thanks to all of you who have been supporting Death Stranding. Death Stranding releasing... Yeah, this is it. He was the one who released the announcement entirely. So we got Death Stranding release on PS4 November 8th, and then early summer of 2020, which is still a while away. But the big thing that I was saying with Bag that is really good about this, about the fact that they're announcing it now, is that Sony could have absolutely done the Rockstar method of not announcing the game for like ages. They could have just waited until it's come out for a month, and then the idea is that Rockstar are known for teasing maybe the idea that it'll be on PC, but never actually confirming it. So people will go in and buy the fucking console release, and then they'll say, haha, look, in a month we're releasing PC, and then people will buy the PC again. Otherwise known as double dipping. For the record, I would like to point out that I don't think that double dipping has nearly as big of an effect on the production thing as people seem to think it does. Basically, I think people overstate the effect that double dipping actually has for Rockstar's profits. Honestly, I think they just make their games for console, and they're just terrible at making PC games, so they just do it, they just wait. I don't think there's a conspiracy of the upper management fucking deciding, oh, we're going to release it a year after. I mean, I'm cynical, but I just think that's impractical. Really?
Yeah, I don't really understand why
it's terrible.
They're so against it, because they're just giving up on a whole section of people. Because yes, there are people who have both. There's people who play console, and there's people who play PC as well. But I feel like the majority of PC gamers don't play on console.
They're not going to. No, I mean, generally speaking, it's been, statistically, the only console that most PC gamers will ever get is Nintendo consoles. And this is because, and this is primarily because Microsoft and Sony have shown that they will potentially release first-party titles on the PC. But Nintendo will never and have never released their first-party exclusives on any other console except Nintendo consoles. The reality here is that if you want to play Pokemon, Zelda, or Mario, you have to have a Nintendo console. But if you want to play fucking Halo, for instance, that used to be fucking massive Xbox game, you could have gotten that on PC up until like the third one. That was it, right?
I think they're going to have all of them on PC soon as well.
They will, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the end for that. But the point being here is that there is a bigger chance of Microsoft and Sony releasing their games on PC, their first-party exclusives, than there are Nintendo. So it makes more sense for a PC gamer to wait it out for those games and not wait it out for Nintendo, because you could be waiting a long time.
Yeah, you're not going to get any of the Nintendo games on PC until you're able to emulate them, basically, is what it's going to come to. But something else that was interesting about this, the one other major thing about Kojima's games is that with Conan O'Brien showing that he's doing a cameo within the game, I'm not really interested in the fact that it's Conan O'Brien. I mean, he's popular enough. He's got a TV show. He's got a really popular podcast, whatever. But he's been doing gaming stuff for a long time. I thought it was funny in the actual video with Conan O'Brien that he was like doing his monologue before the segment started, right? And he was like, he said with my deep connections into the gaming industry, and the crowd laughed at him. And he was like, yeah, that wasn't a joke. Because he actually does have pretty good connections in the gaming industry.
Also like to point out that Conan O'Brien has done voice work in the past. It's funny, for instance, one of the voice work that he did that I remember, what is it? It was, he was in the Dark Knight Returns Part 2. Batman Dark Knight Returns Part 2.
Really?
Yeah. He fucking voices, in the Dark Knight Returns Part 2, he voices the fucking, like a news host. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's partly of the scene that they made, that probably inspires, the Joker thing, if I recall. But either way, the point being, he's got a voice in that. He's done voice work before in the past. I don't
feel that it's weird that he particularly is in the game.
I mean,
but the fact that they publicized it like this, and the fact that they have Norman Reedus as the lead character, basically, you know what he was credited? He was in Halo 4, by the way. I want to just point this out.
Yeah. He was credited as Soldier Number 1. I'd like to point out this was, at the time, Conan O'Brien would have still been a big name when Halo 4 came out. So the fact that he was just generic soldier number fucking 1, and he still did the role is kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
So he has lots of contacts. Why wouldn't he? He's in the entertainment industry. There's obviously a mix.
Wasn't that a big thing that South Park did? Didn't they bring in really famous people for voice actors and make them voice like a dog, or make them voice like some random person who gets killed?
Yeah,
or
but
like
because I think the reason those famous people did it is because it's just fucking hilarious. It's just a funny conversion. Yeah. It's like you know that show? Oh, what is it? It's a fucking amazing show. I can't remember. It's by Ricky Gervais and I believe Stephen Merchant, where they have I'm trying to find it. Basically, they had a bunch of famous people being in it. And those famous people would often act as complete opposites to what they would be in real life. For instance, they had Ian McKellen in that show, and he was a total fucking egotistical douchebag teaching people how to be actors and stuff. And it was it's called Extras. Extras is the show. And they had Johnny Depp in it, and Johnny Depp was just this massive fucking asshole to Ricky Gervais. And I think that's the reason why famous people take those roles, because it's a way for them to break free of the bullshit Hollywood persona that they have to put on. It's it's good, it's fun. I think that's why they'll go onto South Park and play a fucking dog. Because who cares, right? It's just funny.
It was like Tom Cruise or something that played a dog, right? I'm pretty sure.
It's the same reason. Yeah, it's the same reason why it's the same reason why Patrick Stewart plays the poop emoji. People gave Patrick Stewart so much shit for playing the poop emoji, but I reckon there's 2 reasons he did it. And one of them is the money, sure, duh. And the second reason is really because he's old enough to not give a fuck. He doesn't care. It's not going to ruin his reputation playing poop emoji. It's Patrick fucking Stewart, right? Nobody cares.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. I mean, if you're at the point where you'll say that you are before pot was okay to talk about, before that moment where it happened pretty recently actually. He was like, yeah, I smoke it. Yeah, I'd smoke it for my arthritis. He didn't give a shit. I mean, you could tell that he doesn't care.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to care, because the reality is that he is not. It's not just that he's old enough. It's that he has had a large history of continued success for long enough that he can actually say whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants, because it doesn't matter that he goes and plays the poop emoji when he then goes and plays fucking an actual serious role like fucking Logan, where he goes and fucking plays X-Men, Xavier. It's fine. It doesn't matter. People know that. It's the same reason why Ian McKellen gets away with fucking being so relatively nonchalant about his homosexuality. You know? They can do whatever they want because they're already respected people, and they're not going to lose much favor by supporting those groups anymore. And also, they're probably rich enough that they can literally just say whatever they want and retire. Not everyone can sacrifice that, unfortunately.
It's an interesting thing though that celebrities are starting to open up to the idea of games being an actual like big medium, because there was something that happened.
Yeah, it's very
recently
mainstream
on
now.
Twitter, between Ninja and
I'm gonna die. I'm
what's
gonna
her
die.
name? Ninja and who? Ninja who was it? Not Gwen Stefani. God, what?
I don't know. I haven't heard about this.
Anyways,
this is all you, buddy.
This happened like a week or two ago. Give me a second. I need to pull this up. Ninja and
I think I'm just kind of dead.
well, anyways, Lady Gaga. There we go. Thank you, Zeus. It was Ninja and Lady Gaga.
Oh yeah. That's right.
He like added her on Twitter and said, "Hey, come play Fortnite with me."
Yeah. I remember this.
And the thing about it is that you could tell that it was like just a planned stunt for one reason.
Of course.
It's because Lady Gaga, in her reply, she put a period before the at. Because the way that it works on Twitter, if you're not aware, is that if you at somebody at the beginning of your tweet, it only shows to that person. It's not a public tweet. It just shows to that person. You don't see it on the normal feed. So if you put a period before the at, then it shows as just a public tweet, as if you're just tweeting.
So she's not talking to him,
that.
She's talking to everyone.
She's talking to everyone. So the thing about it is that because she's like, who are you again? And of course, it's Ninja. I mean, he's on fucking, like, cardboard posters for energy drinks at fucking Walmart. I mean, it's not like he's not known at this point.
The guy's,
Ninja.
Exactly. The reality here is I think celebrities are coming around to the fact that there's a lot of money and a lot of potential fame. And the reality here is that, and the thing about it too, right, is that 10 years ago, being a YouTube celebrity wasn't necessarily something to write home about. Yeah, you were famous on YouTube and maybe on social media, and yeah, you made a fuckload of money, right? But you weren't a household name, right? Famous people like TV actors and film stars and musicians, these guys were still household names. These were guys who were getting all of the fame now. But that's not really true anymore. We have Twitch stars, right, and YouTube stars who are just as fucking big and have just as massive a fan base as a movie star. Yeah, they might not be necessarily as internationally renowned as fucking Tom Cruise, for instance, right? But we have YouTubers who have millions and millions. Put it this way, PewDiePie himself is probably more popular than every fucking Hollywood actor combined, just by YouTube numbers alone, right? You can't go fucking 5 feet without mentioning, like, you can mention PewDiePie's name to pretty much anyone. And unless you're like super old and you don't use the internet whatsoever, you're gonna know who that is, even just passably. Right? There's no way you don't know who the fuck that name is. He is an absolute household name. Whether or not you hate him or not, it's not irrelevant. It's the fact that people know who that is. That's happening with lots and lots of fucking content creators across the internet. So naturally, people are going to start, like Hollywood stars are going to start making a bigger interest. They're going to start taking interest because why wouldn't they? They're just leaving money on the table, and they're leaving recognition on the table by ignoring it.
Yeah, and it's something that's interesting as well is that big Hollywood stars have a different kind of fame than, say, like a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber has. The kind of fame that a big Hollywood star has is not even somewhat as personal as a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer or anything like that. Yeah, most people, if you say, oh yeah, that's fucking whoever, you know, some famous Hollywood star, great, that I know who that is. But
yeah, but they don't know who that is. That's the thing,
you have
right?
no
you
idea who
feel
that
a
person
solid,
is.
You feel a much
we
more
were kind of
solid
talking about this the other day, but with Casey
Twitch
Neistat, where he was talking about how
yeah.
the difference between putting, say, Tom Cruise in an ad for, say, a car or Coca-Cola or something, yeah, that's great. It's super famous. Everybody already knows what Coke is. They're just expanding their market and maintaining their market. Something like a smaller, more personal company where it's like, if you randomly had some YouTuber be like, oh yeah, Coke, who cares? Literally no one. But he talked about how with like a VPN, which is something that's much, much harder to sell to a particular person, with that personal connection that you have to your audience, you can be like, well, I use this for this, and you guys know how I do this, and this is how it benefits me.
Yeah, the thing is, it's just way much more... The point being is, that's the thing, right? If you see a famous actor on TV pushing something, you go, yeah, whatever, he's pushing it, it's cool, whatever. But if you see your favourite fucking YouTuber doing it, right? Someone that you actually comment on their fucking videos and seem to have a personal connection with, regardless of whether you do or not, regardless of whether they're playing a persona or not, which many of them are, right? You're going to feel much more attuned to it, which is why Casey didn't even take there was some things he didn't take, right? Like some deals, some very lucrative deals. I mean, that's why, remember that video I showed you today of Tom Scott. Tom Scott is a science YouTuber, right? Educational YouTuber on YouTube. Well, that's a great sentence. Good job. Great grammar. Science YouTuber on YouTube. Yes. Anyways, he released a video saying, what was the fucking title? Oh, this video is sponsored by blank VPN. And he goes on and how he has like 2 sections. One part of the section is him like talking about how great the VPN is and all these features, and the other of him is explaining how those individual features aren't really all that cracked up to be, and that he was offered to do a VPN, right, like a sponsorship with a VPN, but he put a lot of money on the table because he wanted to be much more honest with his community, primarily because one, he's a security expert, so he knows how much bullshit the fucking VPN services often are. Like, VPNs are great, but they're not necessarily, all the promised features aren't necessarily as important as somebody getting sponsored by them would necessarily try to tell you they are. So, and it makes a difference, because he could have, and he has, for the record, he has in the past sponsored a VPN service, because he has done that. But it's big, like you have to be really careful about that, because if you don't believe in the company, you're still going to be, lots of your users are going to use that shit, right? Tons of them.
Yeah, your fans aren't going to be... It's something that Casey had said as well, is that, like, he said that he literally felt horrible because he was turning down enough money to put his kid through college. He just had a daughter, right? He's like, he was turning down enough money to put his kid through a nice college, like a good college, just because he felt that it would tarnish his brand and disenfranchise him so far from his viewers that it wasn't worth it in the long run.
Yes, that's the thing. I don't know why he feels bad about that at all, though. Here's the thing, right? I wouldn't feel bad about that. I mean, I get it. Yeah, oh no, I didn't take this lump sum payment, and now my fucking daughter's not going to be able to go to this awesome fucking college. And I'm thinking, yeah, but if you had taken the lump sum payment, she might not have been able to go to college anyways, because you would have potentially gone fucking bankrupt when your entire brand was completely fucking disreputable and completely bullshit. Like, imagine if that happened. Imagine if you shilled for a company and that company did something really bad, and then every single person who shilled for that company was now under the line of fire, and it just ruined him. Like, his reputation was ruined. His daughter would be so much worse off if that happened than if he took the lump sum payment. Like, long term is, I think, important for an individual like him.
Of course.
I think...
agree.
So I don't think he should feel that bad, realistically. I mean, he should probably feel worse about not doing merchandise as earlier, as we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's the worst. That was the worst one, I think, that he mentioned.
Yeah, it was a huge mistake that he felt that he had made. I can't get
I think that was...
Without fighting
dying?
No. I have to fight an elite, and I'm not that strong right now. Anyways, yeah, so moving on. Death Stranding... Coming out for console in about 2 weeks, a week and a half. Coming out for PC in early summer 2020, so get ready for that. So moving on to the final segment here. This is basically where we're just going to go freeform, because like there's just, like we said, not that much happening right now.
Which we do anyways!
There's one interesting thing going on with Twitch in particular and Mixer, is that there's a couple more people. So everyone knew that Ninja moved over to Mixer. I mean, that's just news at this point, right? But since then, a couple more big names have moved over to Mixer, and on top of that, we have gotten information that a few people, big people,
have denied.
Have denied it, or had at least been offered it. So we had Shroud move over to Mixer, and who's the other one? Who's the other big one?
Gifalion.
Yeah,
he's not as big as Shroud or Ninja, but still big enough that matters.
Yeah, so these are still some big names, right? These are people that Shroud and Ninja are kind of the same crowd, but Shroud a little bit less so than Ninja. But yeah, he isn't. So I feel that something that Mixer is going to start doing is they're going to start expanding the types of streamers that they do, because they've got their big names now, right?
You know what? Tangentially, just on a tangent, what I really hate about the media talking about this stuff is they call it poaching. They say that Mixer is poaching big streamers from Twitch. I'm like, well, I mean, really? Is that really your word for it? They're getting paid more. That's really it, right? That's the big reason. So the big reason that Ninja Shroud and Gaffalion have moved specifically is because they're getting more money. That's it, right? They might say, oh, we see growth in this Mixer system, oh, blah, blah, blah. That's a lot of bullshit, right? Nobody's going to move over to an entirely different platform where they can potentially have less fucking viewers for growth reasons. That's a really fucking risky venture that offers no real tangible benefit to any of these streamers, right? They're doing it because they're getting a lump sum payment. This brings us to the one person who decided to apparently refuse an offer, which was Dr. Disrespect. Which is fucking huge, I should mention. That's bigger than fucking like Ninja as far as I'm concerned, right? Refusing it.
The interesting point about Dr. Disrespect is that at one time before he took his big break, I would say that Dr. Disrespect was the biggest streamer, hands down. He was what Ninja is now.
It's funny. He Dr. Disrespect is the guy who has. You can go like the rise, the fall, and the new rise of Dr. Disrespect, the story. Right, that's literally it. Right, you can do the rise and fall of him. And just that would be an interesting book, by the way.
Yeah, he's starting to get back there too. Is that he's starting to make his way back into and for the record, I don't agree with what he did, but I can understand how it happened. Like I don't agree with what he did either.
But it's like I don't agree with what he did either, but I don't generally boycott entertainers, right? Because they do something in their personal life that I disagreed with. I think he's a shitty. I think he's a shitty human being. Yeah, he's a fucking terrible human being, right? But I mean, great. Whoop-de-doo. It's not got nothing to do with me, so I don't care. And in fact, the fact that he even released it on Twitch in the first place, that he made a video about it, is like more than he had to do, in my opinion.
I feel like that was for his wife. I wholeheartedly believe that was just for his wife, 100%. Because how would you feel as a person if your husband or your spouse was out here banging fucking random streamer thoughts, and people know about it because they're gonna see him going and walking around with these people, and just nothing is said, right? So the thing about it is that I feel that there is this. You get to a certain level of fame, and I feel like these kinds of things are just normal, right? Like, I feel like you hear all these things about infidelity and all of that. There's a reason why all of these famous people don't get married. There is a big reason as to why these people don't get married.
The limelight kind of changes those kind of people. It changes everybody.
Yeah, and I haven't experienced that, so it's really hard for me because you hear so many people say it. You hear so many people say it. A popular one that is happening right now that I'm interested in is Joyner Lucas. You don't really know who that is, but it's a rapper. No. And he very recently blew up, right? He got on a song with Eminem, and he is touring with Chris Brown. That's a whole other problem. But the whole thing is that he said,
oof.
This is a guy who was
let's not go into that.
Who stuck to his roots very heavily, right? And he just recently got a huge taste of the limelight. And he posted on, I think, Instagram the other day, he was like, you guys really don't understand what happens when you attain this level of fame. It's not what you think it is. It looks good, but it isn't all that it's cracked up to be.
I would like to point out, and this is the same with getting a massive influx of money. I only really have to bring up one person. If you want to bring up one person when it comes to things like massive amounts of money, massive amounts of fame, and massive amounts of depression... Well, if you want an example of just one person who got a massive influx of money, has a decent amount of fame, at least within the gaming community, but also a massive amount of depression, Notch. That's it.
It's pretty.
It's the biggest
common
thing.
That
Money didn't solve his problems. Reportedly, Notch, for instance, was already suffering from massive depression beforehand. But when he got the money, he went off the rails. He's still off the rails as far as I'm concerned. Because he's got nobody to police him anymore. At all. He's just abandoned everybody that he ever fucking loved or appreciated. And he's just gone off the rails. That's what happens. And he can do that. He doesn't, and I mean, when he first got the money and he started buying those mansions and stuff, he fucking said to himself that he has no connection with any of these other rich people. And that's probably what it's going to be like for a lot of those rich guys. Especially, I imagine, rappers. right?
Yeah.
You become,
so it's like,
your social circle gets big, but your social circle gets big of people that you don't have any real fucking connection to whatsoever.
yeah, and what ends up happening to these people, and like I said, I cannot speak for them because I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
with
it's hard
Dr.
for us to
Disrespect.
relate.
I can only imagine that when you go from someone that is not being given this massive amount of attention to all of a sudden exploding.
All of the attention, yeah.
And keep in mind, this was around the first time that he really went to TwitchCon, right? Like, this was his first big venture out into, like, the world as Dr. Disrespect. Can you even imagine, say you were someone who just had, you know, a spouse, you had a kid, right? But you didn't really date a lot when you were younger, and I know this sounds bad, but say you kind of settled for your spouse, right? Like, you felt like you couldn't do much better than this person, right? Imagine going from that to suddenly just having people throw themselves at you constantly, right? And I mean, this is what happened to this guy. So I'm not justifying what happened, I can just see how it happened. Because not everyone is going to be as strong as you think that you are. Everyone has a price, everyone has a temptation that will get them. So it's like...
some of the drama is hilarious. I mean, it reminds me of, like, the Pro Jared drama. And the Pro Jared drama is really, really interesting to me personally, because he's nowhere near as big as fucking, like, Dr. Disrespect, right? And you know what's worse about that whole fucking thing to me was, with the Pro Jared drama, is I actually really liked Ross O'Donovan, right? Mm-hmm. Ross O'Donovan, or Rubber Ninja, or Rubber Ross, was an animator who then went into Game Grumps. And I really liked him because I thought he was just really nice. He was really chill, really cool, and his animations were great. And then could you imagine being him, figuring out online that your fucking wife fucking cheated on you with this biggest sleazeball on YouTube? Could you, of course, to be fair, to be honest, I reckon that was the reason that they had probably marriage disputes to begin with, but they just didn't announce it, because why the fuck would you announce that, alright? It's their personal fucking life. You don't deserve, I hated that. The whole thing was terrible, because everyone wanted to know. Everyone had their own opinions and rumors. I'm thinking, dude, it's none of your fucking business, right? Something clearly happened, but you don't need to know. It's the same reason why Dr. Disrespect didn't need to fucking air his bullshit on Twitch. He didn't have to do that. There was no justification. Nobody else needed to know that. It was between him and his wife, not between him and his fucking viewers.
Yeah,
right?
I was confused because
in fact,
go ahead.
That brings us back to the idea of that, how people feel a very personal connection with the content creators that they watch, and people don't seem to get that. Yes, you have a personal connection. Yes, they want to bring you into their lives somewhat, but that doesn't mean that they are actually your friend, that you have an actual physical relationship with them. This is honestly the biggest issue you will see when... We could bring this up. We could bring this up with all of the, like, fucking... Oh, you know, I don't even want to... Yeah, this is the biggest issue that those people have.
Let's talk about it.
You want to bring it up?
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
So the way that this works, we're talking about... Okay, so there was a streamer, I don't remember what her name was, but she talked about how... She used to be a cam girl, right? Like, she would just basically, like, show her fucking tits and shit on and masturbate on whatever cam site that she was doing. It's
good money, by the way.
Yes, however, she had said that she made good money doing that, but when she switched over to Twitch, she made so much more money
because there's basically
doing that.
There's basically a bunch of hungry, fucking thirsty 16-year-old dudes. That's it. That's really it. I mean, that sounds terrible, but that's basically it.
The flip side of that, what she talked about, is that she said that it's because people are lonely, right? And she said the most money that she ever made being a cam girl was when she did private shows with businessmen. And most of the time, these businessmen didn't even want her to do anything, like, overt or sexual. They just wanted her to just sit there and talk with them.
It's like when somebody hires an escort. That's what we're going to call them. That's the official name. It's like when somebody hires an escort to come to their fucking hotel room and just chat. It's because they're fucking lonely. But they're lonely, but they don't feel like... They're lonely people that want to have an actual physical connection with somebody, but don't also want to do the work to actually get that. Or, in the case of rich business people, don't have the time because they're so obsessed with their work. Right? I mean, it's weird, to be honest, I think. Like... I mean, I've been lonely, but I've never felt the need to go on fucking Twitch and rub one off to fucking someone.
I can't personally relate to the whole Twitch thought thing, but I can see the situation where some random business guy is just, he doesn't have the time, he doesn't have the patience, he doesn't want to do anything heavy, he just wants to talk with someone, he just wants to have some kind of connection to someone on that
Point being is he wants to have
level,
that, he wants to have that interaction that the normal plebeians, the plebs like us have. Yes, I'm using this term ironically, by the way.
So
don't at me.
So that's the idea, is like these people basically sell companionship, and I think this happened to, was it Alinity recently, where one of her top mods, who had donated well over $15,000 by the way.
The thing people don't get though too about with Alinity was that people seem to ignore the fact that she was in a relationship. She has a boyfriend.
She has a husband. No. She has a husband. She still has that same husband.
For the record, I would like to point out that I don't actually have a big issue with titty streamers or Twitch
I don't care.
or whatever you want to call them. I don't care, right? It's a business, they make money. I have a problem with them. The ones that I specifically take issue with are the ones that are leading their community on, which is what Alinity was doing, right? So I do kind of feel bad for the moderator as to such, but at the same time, $15,000 fucking dollars, dude, you could have had sex with so many fucking people with that much money. Fuck.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know how legal prostitution. Actually, we probably shouldn't talk about that because I'm pretty sure prostitution's illegal in fucking the US, right?
I don't think it matters if it's illegal if we're just talking about it, but the thing about it is like the guy, he was a top mod of the stream, right? And she never like, okay, so what he did is he like sent her like pictures on like Snapchat or something like that, and he was like, that was his call, right? Like that was
that's another thing.
That was his thing, right? Is that he's like oh, I sent you my bored face on Snapchat, and you're telling me that you have a husband and that all of this money that I ever sent you. He basically okay, so the reason this became a thing is he contacted Twitch support and asked them if he could get a refund from Alinity for $15,000 because he wasn't aware that she had a husband.
Like, really? I mean, it's not like she tried to hide it either, to be honest, right?
Yeah, it's not like she like specifically tried to hide it. It never came up, and that was obviously on purpose.
Again, yes, I do believe that's why I don't particularly support her deception, because I do think she was deception. But come on, man, you got to take some personal responsibility.
You do. Can you imagine the dude? Can you imagine the poor fucking support worker just being like, "What the fuck am I reading?" Because this guy has donated more to Alinity than this support worker probably makes in 6 months, right?
I could imagine that this guy went and told. I could imagine this guy went and told all of his colleagues. Because why wouldn't you? Fucking me, I would.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, it became news for a reason. You know, it's like
somebody told them.
I wish that I had that much disposable income, because I mean, like, that much disposable income to even worry about something like that, right?
To
like
throw 15,000. Yeah, imagine having so much disposable income that you could just throw $15,000 to a random fucking streamer. I could have $15,000 right now.
But yeah, it's like I don't understand this kind of thing. So moving back one step. So these people provide content for a streamer. Okay, moving back 2 steps. Whatever, I don't give a fuck. But they provide company, and they provide companionship, and I'm doing air quotes right now, companionship for these people, because these are people who sit alone at home. They only talk with people online, and they don't really have anybody to hang out with, let alone they're mostly male. Vast majority are male. I'm talking like 95%
I'd like to point
plus.
out, right, that when you go down the list, I'm like, man, I relate too much to this. I sit at home, I talk to mostly online people, but I also fucking live in a city that I don't give a shit about, and I'm moving away in 3 months, but I've never felt the need, right? As much as I don't get nearly as much physical interaction with people as I used to when I was living in fucking Auckland, I also don't feel the need to go to a fucking random streamer's fucking thing, and mainly because I'm happy with the internet interaction that I get. I'm fine with that. I don't feel the need to pay $15,000 to some random chick online.
And it's fine, like, you know, it's different strokes for different folks, whatever. I mean,
Oh, I'm dead.
I get it. But it's insane the amount of money that these people make. And
Yes.
they are providing a service. I have no issue with it. Now that Twitch has separated these people effectively, and they are actually giving some bans out and some issues to these people, even though there's a couple of them. I bet these people have dirt on Twitch admins. 100%. The admins have fucking went into these people's chats and has done things with them, and they've fucking sucked admin dick so much. There's no way that they would get away with it otherwise. Let me just say that. But
oh yeah, because if Twitch had nothing to lose, why would they risk that?
Yeah,
it's not worth it.
It's very, very obvious what's going on. But regardless, moving on from that is that basically what was the topic we were talking about before we segued to this? We were talking about Dr. Disrespect. I know that.
We were talking about Twitch people moving to Mixer.
Yeah, Twitch people moving Mixer. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's not really much else to happen there. Dr. Disrespect, I can see how that kind of thing happened to him, right?
Specifically, we didn't get to the reason why he denied it, though. Dr. Disrespect, so Gaffalion and Shroud and Ninja, they've decided to go to Mixer likely because their reason is they see growth and there's money there, right? They want the money. Dr. Disrespect, on the other hand, said that he was offered but refused due to the lack of engagement. Basically, he believes he takes his community very seriously and is not willing to risk losing potential viewership for more money, for a flat fee. And
yeah, I feel that's smart.
And I think both sides are very understandable. I think his is smart in the long, right? And I think, yeah, his is definitely smarter in the long term. Because the reality is he could always just move to anywhere else later on down the line. Nothing prevents anybody from doing that.
Yeah, so
when you put a flat contract, you're stuck in there.
Something that Mag and I talked about earlier is that with Dr. Disrespect, the whole idea behind him is that if you think about Ninja, if you think about Shroud, these aren't people that have their own very strong personas, right? These aren't people that have like...
No, these are people... When you watch these guys, you are pretty much just watching these guys play video games. You're not watching... Dr. Disrespect, on the other hand, is a whole fucking character. You're not watching fucking... What's his name? Henschel, right? I believe is his last name. You're not watching him. Yeah. So... It's like, it's like, for instance, like Asmongold. You're not really watching. When you watch a YouTube video of Asmongold, you're not watching the guy behind the character. You're just watching a character who exaggerates the fuck out of everything.
Yeah, so he doesn't have Ninja and them. They just have a bunch of kids that just like turning on Ninja and like watching Ninja, right? That's fine. Yes. But with Dr. Disrespect, he's playing this character and he's got so much power behind this character that if he suddenly jumps to somewhere that doesn't support his character as strongly, he's not going to do well. I mean, there's no guessing.
Yeah, it should be noted. It should be noted that he built his character up over a long time, and it took a lot of effort for him to do that. And it's like, and you can't really just disregard the amount of effort that it took for him for that character to actually bear fruit. And it relies heavily on the Twitch community that he's built his support on. And it doesn't work if you go to a different platform, because the reality here is that different platforms, different social medias have different communities, right? Their culture is completely different. The culture of just like Reddit compared to Twitter or Tumblr or Facebook are completely different. Same with Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube. They're all completely different, right? And if you rely heavily on your community, then yeah, going from one to the other might not be a strong move.
And the thing that you got to think, for anybody who's watching or listening, it's like, if you mainly go on Twitch, right? You mainly watch people on Twitch. Do you know any Mixer streamers? I don't, besides the ones that we've talked about. I don't know
besides the ones that moved.
Yeah, right? Those are the only ones.
But that's because I don't use Mixer, right? I don't use Mixer. So.
And I don't see any purpose in me using Mixer because I use Twitch, right? I'm used to it. I've invested in it, which is the whole issue with Mixer at the moment. There is no outstanding reason to go to Mixer. This is the problem that's always been with YouTube. At the same time, and that is the problem with YouTube. And I do think that Mixer, getting people like Ninja and Shroud on board, is a really good move for them, because that is a reason now for people to go there. I don't care about Ninja or Shroud myself personally. I don't know. But there are a lot of people who do. Right? I don't mind them, but I don't watch them. Right? I watch mostly smaller streams. Right? There are lots of people who do like those though, and they probably will go to Mixer to watch those people. So I mean,
it makes sense to invest in it. Of course, I think the only reason that Mixer can even do this is because it's backed by Microsoft. It's backed by a multi-billion-dollar company. It's the same reason why nobody's competed with YouTube, because no big corporation has decided to.
Yeah, it's not something that's going to change. I mean, because so the way that I put it to Mag the other day when we were talking about this is that I much more so trust Amazon
than Microsoft. Yeah.
Than Microsoft. Not as a company. I think Amazon is a terrible company, right? Like a terrible thing for the world.
From a consumer perspective, they're fucking amazing. But if you work for them,
yes.
Well, I'm sorry.
I would say that for them doing things that will progress them forward in the future, I think that Amazon is going to do better than Microsoft would, right? Because say for example with Amazon and the whole deal with UPS, right? What happened with that was that UPS felt that they were getting a shitty deal when it came to their exclusive contract with Amazon, right? So they were trying to renegotiate, and Amazon's like, we're not going to renegotiate with you, and UPS was like, well, what else are you going to do? And Amazon was like, I guess we'll just do it ourselves, and they did. They hired drivers. They bought trucks, and now UPS is losing so much money. It's insane how much money they're actually losing because of this.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. UPS were fucking stupid when they decided to fight Amazon.
It was such a stupid idea. I mean, I get it. I understand.
Who did the cost analysis for that? Because it wasn't somebody smart. That's for fucking sure.
Yeah, it's just it was idiotic to think that they were doing anything but losing money there.
People don't seem to get that Amazon is one of the richest companies in the fucking world, backed by literally the richest person in the world.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
and
that's
Bezos
the problem,
is smart, man. Jeez.
Is that I much more trust Amazon to survive than Microsoft at this point. I don't think Amazon is going anywhere. Microsoft, I would be happy if there was competition to Windows, to be perfectly honest.
Of course. Even if Amazon, as a retailer, right, were going stuff somewhere. And for the record, I do think that Amazon I don't think they're losing ground, but but they're not necessarily as good in terms of retailership as they used to be. But the thing is even if they did start declining in the retail market, right? Amazon diversified for a reason. I mean, think about how many fucking services on the internet use AWS.
Oh yeah.
A
huge amount
lot
if you don't know.
Yeah, right?
Although,
so many people are reliant on Amazon Web Services. I mean, you could use Google, but still.
What just happened recently? Didn't Google just buy a big contract out from under Amazon's nose? Didn't that just happen?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, but the reality here is that if you're a massive multi-million-dollar corporation and you're not going to use your own CDN for obvious reasons, because that's fucking expensive, your options are pretty limited. You're either going to be using Amazon, probably, or fucking Google. I mean, there's a few other options. There are a few, but they're the big ones, right? Those are the ones that are going to scale the best for a massive company. And other ones are there are lots of other CDN offerings that you could take if you're a small business owner. You don't have to go with Amazon, and you don't have to go with Google. But if you're a multi-fucking-million-dollar company that's looking to grow massively, like Discord, for instance, there's no real incentive to use.
You would be doing yourself a disservice to not use these companies. Is basically. And
I'm pretty sure fucking Discord uses AWS, right? I'm pretty sure.
Discord's big enough where I think that they can do it.
They may use their own.
Because the thing about Discord is they actually just have backer money. Discord.
They have venture capitalists out the ass.
Yeah, Discord actually doesn't profit that much money. If you guys aren't aware, for anyone who uses Discord, which I'm sure most of you use Discord. If you're not aware, Discord sells your information heavily, and
they record your conversations.
They record everything that you say, everything
for the record. It should be noted that they don't technically sell your information, but they can. They're allowed to, and they do record. Their privacy policy states that they're allowed to record your information, record all of your stuff, record all of your data, and all that shit, and sell it if they want to. But they claim that they don't. They claim this, but I mean, lots of companies claim this, so it's irrelevant. But still, that's the idea. Yeah, that's how they make their money. The concept, I mean, this is going into simplified business talk now, but basically the thing about Discord is, despite the fact that it doesn't make any money, It basically works on infinite growth. The idea is that as long as it continues to actively grow, venture capitalists, right, and rich investors will continue to pour money into it. That's pretty much the same way that Uber works, right? This is why Uber, for instance, invests way more money on research and development than they do on the actual concept of Uber. Because their idea is that if they can get to the point where fucking automatic cars and all that shit is fucking a thing, then they don't have to pay for a fucking employment. They don't have to pay for a staff, and maybe they'll start making money. That's the idea. Uber basically are trying to research ways to make money as opposed to trying to actually just lower costs to make money.
Yeah, because that's the thing about what's going to happen eventually. If you guys aren't aware, that driving is not going to be a thing for a long time. Just so you're aware, in 20 years, people driving is not really going to be the thing.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not confident in 20 years, but we'll see. I'm definitely, well, to be fair, I'm not confident in fucking 2022 that fucking Elon Musk thinks, at least. Fuck that. We're not getting stage 5 autonomous driving in 2 years.
Thinking
I don't believe that.
Oh, I did this wrong. I did this completely
For the
wrong.
record, I don't believe that the technology won't be there. I don't believe that there's a technological hang-up for stage 5 autonomous driving. The resistance will not be technological, right? There is no reason, for instance, that a car can't be programmed to automatically drive you from point A to point B right now. And there is no reason that a bunch of cars, like a dozens and dozens and dozens of cars, can be built to do that same thing while also avoiding all the other cars that also do the same thing. That can happen. Basically, if you had a city that ran entirely on automatic cars, like automated driving cars, I think that could work right now. The resistance doesn't come from technology. It comes from society. And I don't believe that in 2 years society is going to fundamentally change to believe that self-driving cars are safer. Because fucking humans have the hubris, have like ultimate hubris. We believe we're better than... Everyone believes that survivorship bias is so fucking common, prevalent. Everyone believes they're above average, right? If everybody drove, or if everybody had a stage 5 autonomous car, then I reckon like driving on the roads would probably be somewhat safer. But the reality is that society, right, is going to resist this. Not to mention everyone has to have that car, and who's going to pay for that? Who's going to buy me, for instance, a poor fucking dude, a fucking electric automatic car? Nobody.
I just think that it's going to be much more common soon. I think that it's going to...
Oh,
I think
yeah,
this
sure.
is one of the... I think this is one of the things where it's going to be like, the same people right now that can afford to have a new car are going to be the people, and that's a somewhat good percentage of the population are going to be not driving anymore.
I'm not saying that it won't happen in my lifetime. I'm saying that it's not going to happen soon.
I think it might be sooner than 20 years to where it's like a decent percent of people are going to be doing it, though.
Yeah, sure, but I don't think we're going to... No, but the argument is that will everybody, right, be changing to automotive cars? And I'm not sure, I'm not convinced on that in the next 20 years.
Mag.
I'm more convinced that what will happen in 20 years... No, you don't hear me out, right? What will actually happen in 20 years' time is the social collapse of society will happen because augmented agents will become a thing. I will be able to change all of my body parts into robots, and I will be fucking persecuted by the rest of society. That's what's going to happen. Cyberpunk dystopian future!
Mag, I have a
with
question
automatic
for you
driving
real quick.
cars.
In Slay the Spire, you're supposed to follow the paths, right?
I mean, usually.
I mean, like, you have to, though, right?
Usually, yeah. Yeah.
Why can I just go to wherever I want right now?
Wait, let me see. What do you mean? Choose an area. Choose an area that's not connected to your path. I'm looking.
Are you looking?
Yeah, so you got 4 options at the moment. And you're only... Wait, what?
You saw that, right?
What? What? That's it. That shouldn't... I need to try that. I can't because I've only got 1 path ahead of me. But that's... Okay.
I was just wanting to make sure that I wasn't.
No. You're. That's an interesting. That's an interesting bug you got there. Awesome. That's really weird.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm. But anyways, moving on to the next.
Let's continue. Because we're already over time.
Yeah, we're going over time at this point. We got a couple more things to talk about. So EA is crawling back to Daddy Valve. You're going to be able to buy EA games on Steam
EA Access.
And EA Access. On Steam,
that's the big
because
thing.
EA has finally given up the fact that they're fucking shit and they just need to go back to what they were doing.
He's simplifying it a lot. The reality is that we're simplifying it. Origin just clearly didn't do as well as they were hoping. It's funny because I actually thought Origin was doing better than expected. I'll be honest. I thought Origin was pretty good after they fixed most of the issues.
Yeah, look at this. I can still do it. I can go to anything that I want to. Is that one of my items?
It might be.
Oh yeah, wing boots. You may ignore paths when choosing the next room to travel to 3 times.
Alright, so it's not a bug.
It was an item. I didn't realize that I got that item though. I don't think I ever chose that item. I think I just got it.
It's fine. Yeah, well, in the chest you'll get random items.
Yeah.
Anyways, to be fair, I'm not reading any of my items either.
So the next thing is that Blizzard. There's a couple things to talk about with Blizzard actually here. So I might skip around on the things a little bit, but Blizzard is losing a bunch of major devs with all of the shit that they've been going through, and they are hiring a new vice president who is also going to be their general manager. Interestingly, this is the person that was the head of the Xbox section of Microsoft before. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, Mike something.
Mike Ibarra, yeah. So,
Yeah.
So he is going to be taking over the vice presidency of Blizzard, which, keep in mind that vice president and general manager has much more to do with the day-to-day functions than the actual president.
Wait. Is he actually taking over vice president status?
Yeah, he's gonna be he's gonna be VP of Blizzard and the general manager.
Wait. No, I don't. Hang on, that's important because Jeffrey Kaplan is the current vice president of Blizzard Entertainment. So how does that? Oh God, how does that work? Wait, what?
Yeah, when I brought that up, you didn't have much to say about it, but I thought that was...
No, yeah, that's the interesting... Because I thought you mean president, though. I thought you mean he's replacing Alan Brack, right?
No, he is vice president and general manager. Yeah.
Yeah, wait, what? What the fuck's happening with...
I don't know.
Oh, God.
If he's gone...
to be fair, Jeffrey... To be fair, I don't know. That would be... Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know if Jeff Kaplan would move necessarily, if he would leave. I think he may have just preferred to be in the game designer status because he was thrusted into that VP role. To be fair, when all the other fucking VPs left, Blizzard, they had no. The point being here is that when the other vice presidents of Blizzard left. And most of those were like when Mike Morhaime and Metzen, for instance, left. There was no other veterans. Like basically, Jeff Kaplan is one of the last remaining veterans of Blizzard Entertainment, at least from World of Warcraft's time. So, I'm just trying to get more information on this. This is actually very interesting to me now because I don't. Nobody seems to be questioning that, but it also doesn't seem to. I don't know when exactly he became the vice president of Blizzard Entertainment because it doesn't say.
He said it announces that he's going to be taking the position. That was the announcement.
They could have tons of vice presidents though, so he could be the executive vice president.
Sure. There
could be more than one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but the thing is, oh God, that's actually, I love this comment though. We've seen this before, yeah. Leaves Xbox on good terms, joins Activision, shit hits the fan and breaks up with Activision, does play dates with Phil Spencer like old times. Oh, yeah, maybe. You know, basically, do you know who that's referencing?
No, but I die. I just
Bungie.
Can't survive the Awakening one. Yeah.
It's referencing Bungie.
Yeah, so they're getting a new VP and general manager, and they are losing a bunch of their major developers. Not good for Blizzard. So, other thing that's going on at Blizzard is that we've got some confirmed information. Overwatch 2 is going to have a hero mode. I'm worried here that this is just going to be Left 4 Dead with robots.
Yep. Don't even. Yep, and I don't know if. Well, it's basically, to me, okay, here's the issue. And you know what's worse about it if it is Left 4 Dead with robots? If it is just a horde mode? Team Fortress 2 has a horde mode built into the original fucking Team Fortress 2. There's no Team Fortress 3 where they do horde mode. The point being here is that Overwatch 2, with anything less than a campaign, for full fucking price, without any of your cosmetics transferring over, is a fucking ripoff. Absolutely. Guaranteed. I don't fucking care how good their horde mode is, their Left 4 Dead bullshit is. I'm not playing fucking Warhammer Vermintide fucking Overwatch edition, where I lose all of my skins, pay full price, and that's it. Fuck off.
Yeah, so
That's
it's gonna
terrible.
be... If it doesn't have a full dedicated story mode, like
campaign,
a full dedicated campaign story mode, $60. That's
For the record,
asking,
I'm
dude.
not. For the
much
record,
was
I'm not expecting. Overwatch was 50.
40. I thought it was 40.
Was
Well,
it
might have been-
40? Oh, okay.
I think
well,
it was
either
40,
way.
and
No,
then there was
no,
like a
40, 50 or
deluxe
something.
edition that was more. I'm pretty sure.
Either way, the point being here is that, I don't know, even at $40, I don't want to pay the same
It
price
should be an
for Overwatch.
expansion for like $20.
Yeah.
That would make sense to
Yeah.
me. If it was $20 and it was an expansion that opened up a PvE
To
mode
be
for the
fair,
game.
They are, to be fair though, the other rumors have said that they're not really calling it Overwatch 2 and more like Overwatch Chapter 2.
Yeah.
So it might still be an expansion.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, keep in mind these are rumors. BlizzCon isn't here yet. They haven't announced anything. But something that is way more tangible is the fact that Bolvar is 100% back. So
well, we knew that.
We've
Honestly,
gotten-
you can't do an. To be fair, you can't do an The leaks are pointing towards a Shadowlands expansion, and you can't do a Shadowlands expansion, you know, Land of the Dead, without fucking the Lich King or the new
yeah.
Lich King.
Wait, hold
Remember,
up one
think
second.
about that.
Let's move back one step real quick because Zeus just brought something up. Overwatch Battle
Juicy.
Royale.
Oh god, no, I'm done. I'm done. See you later. Fuck this.
I honestly feel he actually left.
I officially quit life. God, fucking
you-
damn it.
Can you hear me, Mag? Are you
Damn
back?
it. Yeah, I'm good.
I
Fuck that.
honestly feel like this is way more that is way more likely than anything else.
Yeah,
But,
sure, but that doesn't mean I fucking like it. Oh, that sounds terrible.
But,
that sounds 100% terrible because I don't think that, I mean, what, do they really think that they're going to take fucking that many players from fucking Fortnite? I mean, Apex Legend was good, but it still didn't do shit for more than a month.
So, anyways, the other thing is that apparently there's another meme that's going around that's saying that in the story mode of Overwatch, because this is leaks from someone that works at Blizzard. Apparently, they say, keep in mind this is not real. That we don't have it confirmed.
Yeah,
But
their
they're saying
proof
that
is
in
a heavily censored ID card.
Yeah, so the there's a person that's saying that the McCree story mode, the hero mode in Overwatch 2, is that he and a couple other people are clones of Soldier 76, and they were
What?
raised
Is
they were raised
that what
fucking
you mean?
Metal Gear style.
That's terrible.
Yes, that in
Holy
the story
fuck,
that
that's
McCree as well as a
garbage.
few other people are genetically modified clones of Soldier 76 that were basically raised Metal Gear style. Like, think that's what it's coming to, like the different snakes that were all based off of the boss.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah,
That's so bad. Mainly because, you know what? I thought it was bad in Metal Gear. But the reason it worked is because Hideo Kojima's fucking weird and crazy. The guy's insane.
Yeah,
right?
I
The
think
guy has a very...
it was a new
The guy has a
thing,
massive...
too. Like, that was
Yeah,
the
the
first
guy has a
time that it
massive
happened.
cinematic flair. Yeah, it's a massive cinematic flair. But you can't have Overwatch Metal Gear Edition and it not looking really fucking phoned in.
But yeah, moving on to the point we're talking about, at gear.blizzard.com there is a official link to a blizzard.com site that has Bolvar as the Lich King
Yeah.
with his full flare going
And
on.
again, if it is the Shadowlands expansion, this makes sense. You can't have a Land
Yeah.
of the Dead without fucking Bolvar 4 Dragon.
Yeah, so the controversy, which I don't even feel that it's controversy, the controversy here is that his eyes are blue and the rest of him is red. So the idea is that people are thinking that because his eyes are blue, that Ner'zhul is taking back over of the Lich King, and it's not actually Bolvar 4 Dragon, because when Bolvar originally became the Lich King, his eyes were red, or orange, whatever
I would
you
like to
wanna
point
call it.
out, and I said this to Bag before we started airing, my opinion on the matter is simply that if you played Legion and you played the Death Knight class campaign, Bolvar is already stepping over the line. As far as I'm
of
concerned,
course.
right? The point being here is that the moment that Bolvar stuck that helmet on, he was being corrupted. I don't necessarily think that Ner'zhul or Arthas is still alive, like some people theorize. Rather, I think that the helm itself just corrupts the fuck out of whoever puts it on. Basically, the helm is just evil as fuck. And whenever you stick that the helm of domination on your head, all of the souls that are attached to it just get merged into one fucking blend of evil bastard.
Yeah,
that's it, right?
I feel
I
that
don't
it has
necessarily
some
think
kind
Ner'zhul
of
or
like,
anything is corrupting.
yeah, I feel it's some kind of like weird spirit meld kind of thing going on with that helmet. I feel like it is its own entity is what happens, and I feel like it just slowly sucks your soul out of it and just adds you into... So basically, basically, the Lich King is the Borg.
Yeah.
It's basically what it comes to. The Lich King is the Borg.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's gonna be back. It's basically confirming that Shadowlands is the next expansion. But we can be... I feel like after Legion, literally any big bad guy is a downgrade. I don't agree with you there, dude.
Well, I don't 100% agree, but in saying this, I think the reality here is that I want Void Lords, and anything less than that is kind of irrelevant to me.
In the categories of lore, when it comes to how much I care about the lore, Legion and all of its compatriots are lower on the lore totem than the Lich King is for me. So I can't agree with you that it's a downgrade.
But at the same token, I can because Blizzard's writing is garbage. I would rather them leave Wrath of the Lich King left to fucking rot in the forms of the nostalgic area of my brain, than fucking revive that in a half-assed attempt at fucking bringing veteran players back. Like, fuck you. I don't want them destroying what was effectively a decent part of the fucking World of Warcraft career, my career at least.
Sure.
I don't agree they'll do it justice.
I don't.
That's my concern.
That wasn't really what I was saying, but I do agree with you that I don't know that it's going to be done justice. I would love to be proved wrong, as always, but last thing, and this is just kind of a side note here, we'll talk about Outer Worlds a little bit, but something that kind of confused me. Why would they do this? It's a single player game, okay? We're going to be done in like 5 minutes, so it's fine. I mean, we're only about an hour and 15 minutes in. So,
it's an hour. Oh yeah, okay.
But the thing about it is that like Outer Worlds is a pretty decent game. I wouldn't say that it's amazing, but I wouldn't say that it's terrible. I'd say that it's above average.
Yeah, it's definitely. I put it as a solid. I think it's better than Control was. Put it that way.
I would put it at like a 3.5 or 4 is where I would put it.
Yeah, a 3.5 out of 4 out of 5. The biggest downsides with the Outer Worlds currently, in my opinion, is that one, most of the companions are really crap. Honestly, they're just not that great. I mean, 2 of the companions are great. Yeah, pretty much. Like 3 of the companions are great, and the rest of them are just kind of. I just don't like them. I don't care for them. They're not particularly interesting. A lot of work went into a lot of the work went into the first 2 companions that you get access to, and not much else. And other than that, the story's predictable as fuck. That's really my biggest down. If it wasn't, it might be alright. But
the thing about Outer Worlds that's weird is you can see in the note here is that they decided to censor a whole bunch of names on a single player game. So with the advent of streaming,
weird.
I can tangentially understand this. However, those kinds of things
because the streamer would just
exactly that like if you have
the streamer would police themselves. That's the thing.
Yes, so that's what I was saying is that the streamer by the virtue of just being live on a service that doesn't allow you to have those kinds of names anyways. I can see someone that doesn't think that far, that someone's just like, oh, well, what if someone streams our game and they put that name in there and something happens?
Yeah, but I would like to point out that the censorship list, right, is not even just that. It's just like copy and paste Microsoft generic list.
It's weird.
They have a lot of words that don't make sense outside of, like, and they have lots of fucking languages that are censored, for instance. Lots of insults in other languages that are censored. This made sense in Dark Souls, for instance, but doesn't make a lot of sense in fucking Outer Worlds.
It's a single.
And also, you can bypass
game.
it. You can still call yourself Cuntsicle. Literally, I can't call my character Cunt, but I could call them Cuntsicle. Cuntsicle, the cunting third.
So that's a weird thing about Outer Worlds. We're gonna do a full review on Outer Worlds later, probably. I'd probably say we'll probably be done with it within a week or 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll get a full review from us. You'll get a full review from me as well. But like, Outer Worlds, pretty decent. But you know, it's kind of got some pretty big issues that I
would say it's a taste of things to come. The reality is that it's very obvious that it's small budget and small game, and they didn't have enough money or time to do what they wanted. Basically, it's a game that could be fixed by really, really good DLC, mod support, or a really, really good high budget sequel. Put it that way.
Yeah, if they were to open up mod support, it would be great because it's got a good foundation. There's a couple fundamental things that do need to be fixed with a patch, like fucking terrain is so shit in that game.
Not even just
but
that.
It's not even. That's gonna come down to money, though. Honestly, I feel like that was just a money problem.
The one thing they do need to fix is the fact that I can't fucking recruit the 5th fucking companion because I can't recruit them because I just can't do the mission.
Yeah.
It just prevents me. I can continue doing the storyline because I know what to do, right? Because the idea is you're never prevented from doing anything in the game. You can just kill everybody and keep going. It's fine. But I can't hire. Yeah, I can't get like hire. We'll see that later.
But yeah,
couple days when I play it on stream next.
So that's the idea, is that if it had good mod support, if it had some really solid DLC, like think like Borderlands level of DLC, like think about how all the DLC that they pumped into Borderlands 2.
And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're gonna do with it. Now that it's gotten some success.
It makes sense.
Review-wise.
They just wanted to kind of put it out there and make sure that it was worth putting in the money. But or I could feel it turning into its own Borderlands, right? Like, I feel like it has a lot of the same tropes, it has a lot of the same ideas. It's just more of a choose-your-own-story version of Borderlands, where Borderlands is just glorifying the story and...
Maybe, but I think it's going to be... I know it could be like that, but I think it's bringing back the glory days of Knights of the Old Republic and the original Mass Effect games. I think that's really what they're going with, because this is... did I say this to you? It's Obsidian, right? Obsidian Entertainment was formed by the people who made the original Fallout, and all of their games, all of their independent games that they made, right, have been clearly inspired by the heyday of Black Isle Studios and the original, like, BioWare. That's what I think they're more likely to make.
But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for us, though. We're over time, as per usual. I mean, you know, basically what happens is that even if we don't have a lot of topics, if we decide that we just want to go off on tangents, we can talk for fucking hours, dude. Like, there's seriously enough that Mag and I could keep talking for another hour straight if we really wanted to. But
yeah, this is only a fraction of the shit.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, we've kind of talked about this, but like, if we wanted to move this to a 2-hour podcast per week, we absolutely could. We could do 2 podcasts.
Don't know if I want to.
But we would. But the big crux would be that like it would require a lot more time from us. So if we had people doing this stuff for us, it would be different.
It's not even just that. It's that I feel like people are less likely wanting to watch a 1 hour
dual. Yeah.
Basically, 1 hour podcast is generally the average. Most people will take the time to watch 1 hour podcast, but they might not take the time to watch anything longer.
And the thing about it is that our podcast in particular is more visual. Like we do a lot more visual stuff than most podcasts do. Because, yeah, we could just sit here and talk. We used to do that. It was fine. I had no issues with it. But there's a lot more visual and a lot more things that we pull up. It's much harder to watch 2 hours than it would be to listen to 2 hours. Whereas it's not so much of a stretch to watch an hour. So, anyways, that's going to be it for us. Remember, you can find us on Twitter. Links are down below. Or if you're on Spotify or if you're on SoundCloud, they're in the description of the channel. So thanks for watching, boys. We will catch you next week. I know that the previous episode is late. I'm the one that edits them. I've got a lot of shit on my plate in the last week or so it's coming. I am probably what I'm going to start doing. I guess we should address this officially, is that we are considering moving the day that we stream the podcast to potentially Sunday in the US. It would be Monday for you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, normally a break day, but it's fine.
So the idea would be is that we would just be kind of doing the stream to move the podcast to a day that I'm already streaming, so that it frees me up a little bit more to be able to get shit done. But yeah, that's the idea. Also, I'm considering streaming the editing of the podcast video just because. The idea would be is that I would end the podcast right now. Say it's Sunday of next week, right? I would be ending the podcast right now and then immediately going into just bullshitting with Mag like we normally do for a little bit. Which we're still going to do here in a second. But bullshitting with Mag for a little bit, and then I would move right into editing the podcast then and there, and then you would get it basically the next day. It would be coming out like Monday.
Whereas on my side, it's not as cut and dry, because I normally take break day on that. So on my side, I would either continue talking on bullshit and just streaming that, or doing my own editing. Because normally Mondays or Sundays, US for me, is when I edit. What I do for my stream is that I take all the clips of the games that I just played in the last week, smash them together, and then put them on YouTube. I tend to YouTube edit that. So that's pretty much what I do. That's what I may end up doing on stream when Bag's fucking editing the podcast,
so,
which is kind of similar, really. You're just editing, you're just mashing the clips together.
Yeah, so basically what it would do is it's going to give us an excuse to stream for you guys more. So if you want to see that kind of thing, if that kind of thing interests you, we're basically just going to be sitting there talking shit like we do on the podcast and just streaming.
Yeah, there will be no structure. That's the difference.
Yeah, it's just going to be some bullshitting. And then, yeah, so that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. We will catch you next week.
Fuck, I have so many relics.